It's about I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Being able to run as he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Here we go. Down from the gun to the touchdown. It is caught. Touchdown.
This is BS Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Seth is drinking the Peeps Pepsi, and I will never have respect for him again. We got a great show for you all today. A lot of things are happening in the news, namely trade deadline, MLB talk. This is the final week, the final stretch before the trade deadline. We got a lot to talk about there. Dan Snyder officially sold the Washington Commanders. I got some fun stats regarding that and potential name change again for the Commanders. They might be going back to the Redskins. I have no word on that. This is not an official report, but it would be kind of funny.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We also have a story about the Lions that made me almost die. Seth can confirm. I almost died hearing about this, so we will get to that later on in the show, as well as many other things happening. Saquon Barkley got $1 bazillion. I'm constantly checking my phone anytime there's a Bleacher Report notification in case somebody gets traded. Or, I don't know, Austin Eckler signs a $100-year million deal with the Chargers, and he's going to be running till he's 40, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But want to talk some baseball at the top of the show because obviously it's timely, and unfortunately we'll just rip the Band-Aid off first. So this week, okay, well, hold on a second, Seth, because you had a decent weekend this weekend. Okay.
Indeed.
This week in MLB for my Tigers, we took 3 out of 4 from the Royals, feeling good, back-to-back series wins on the road after the All-Star break. Maybe we start to make a push. Weekend home series, first time back home since the pre-All-Star break, and we dropped 2 out of 3 to the San Diego Padres. And one of those games we gave up like 14 runs.
Correct.
Or something like that.
Yep.
We managed to win the final game, but that was not a great series from the Tigers. And it's just like, I kind of got to the point where it was like, okay, we're just not real. Like, we're just not real. We're not going anywhere. We haven't made any progress on the Twins. We're not going to win this division. Okay, that's it. The season is over. And who better to end our season than the San Diego Padres?
Whose season has been over for what seems like the start of the MLB season.
I just saw a commercial with Juan Soto in it, too. And they're talking about sports betting. So.
I like that guy. Too bad he's playing.
He hit 2 home runs on us in the first game. It's like his first at-bat home run. It's like, okay, well, it's Juan Soto. He tends to do that. Next at-bat, he just sends one to the sea. It's like, Juan, stop.
See ya.
Stop. Jeez.
Yep.
Hey, Spencer Torkelson hit a home run in the 3rd game, so I was happy about that.
That's something.
And Andy Ibanez. Andy Ibanez is what they call him.
Now that's something.
The 30-year-old minor leaguer.
That guy.
His situation is a little more complicated than that. But I don't know what else happened with the Padres this week. I know they lost yesterday night to the Pittsburgh Pirates. What's been going on outside of beating my Tigers? What's been going on in San Diego and Slam Diego? Excuse me.
Yeah, I appreciate the catch there. Same old stuff that's been going on.
I'm so sick of these people.
That's sports radio in San Diego, right? And just San Diego fans generally, right now.
That's inside of my brain thinking about the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Because, again, you take 2 out of 3, and I'm like, okay.
On the road,
winning
it's
that
not
series.
and Tigers are not like a terrible team. We're middling.
Pirates, and then you lose.
Yeah.
We play again today.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This has just been. I really hope this is a fluke season. I really do. And if it's not, I will probably not be on this earth.
I do think it is. Like seriously speaking, here, I do think it is. I think I don't know where I heard this, but I either read it or I heard it at one point. when the Tigers traded for Miguel Cabrera, they ended up having a losing season. I think they finished last in the division. And it was like on paper, right? The team is, the best Tiger team to that point. And it just sort of flopped. Now, ultimately, that trade worked out for us, right? In a similar way, I think you could see the trade, or not the trade, the signings of Bogarts or Machado, all these guys. I think you can see these things working out long term. You don't sign them to 1 year, right?
That's
you sign
true.
them to 5 or 6 years, or however, I don't know how long these deals are. But like they have the makings of being better, and I think they kind of got themselves in a hole early on where they just came out of the gate and they sort of stumbled, and they're kind of just a little bit below 500. They're not totally out of a wild card position, and I guess it depends if they want to sell or not. And we have some interesting stories here that have been popping in to my notifications regarding what their plan is, because I gotta tell you, I don't really know. And it's like it's kind of a difficult situation when you're a middle of the road team for any trade deadline, whether you want to go all in and try to make some deals happen, or if you want to sell something while it's high. Speaking of that, like just this week, it was crazy. It was like Bleacher Report comes out with an article here. Juan Soto not available, which is good. You shouldn't trade Juan Soto.
I agree.
So likely to shop, quote unquote, Josh Hader and Blake Snell.
Dumb decision.
A few days later, MLB rumors: Josh Hader, Blake Snell not expected to be traded by the Padres at the deadline. I don't know what to believe. Do I just believe the last story? Like, I guess.
I hope, because I think trading Blake Snell and Josh Hader would be stupid. But
I think it probably would be a little too reactionary. Given, like I said, I think this team is not like super far off. I mean, like, I don't know how you can be far off given the talent.
And I'm hoping it just picks up. Like at some point, like,
I mean, what are they, like 4 games under 500 or something like that? 4 or 5?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know what the progression has been with them. If they've been getting closer to it, seems like they've been like close to like about 3 games under basically the whole year.
It's been like that the entire year. Yeah, it really has.
I mean, like, the thing is, if you have a savvy trade deadline, you can change your season, but the problem is you're not like, it's not like you're above 500 and you're like just at the bottom wild card spot or something, and you don't nobody's really paying attention. It's like you would still have to do really, really well to get into that wild card spot. And what's even worse is like the top of the division right now is just falling apart. I think the Giants have lost like 5 in a row. The Diamondbacks lost like 7 in a row. The Dodgers, I think, lost 3. So, like, everyone's on a losing streak. And it's like, this is your chance to gain some ground on the division.
Trust me.
And you didn't really get anything.
I'm well aware of our issues. Actually, I'm not aware of our issues because I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, we can't just win a baseball game.
It really is a mystery. Like, I like to think I can rationalize most of the sports teams and stories that I encounter. Even if it's a team I don't really follow, I can at least be like, okay, I can look at the surface and be like, well, I'm assuming this is a team that is doing X, Y, or Z.
Right.
I don't really know what you do with the Padres because they're not rebuilding.
I don't even know.
They're not like they are they're not a good team, but they are a good team. Like, it's like, I look at the players and I'm like, it's like the top of that order is good. We saw it this weekend. It is good. They can hit well against a Tigers team who has had some pretty good pitching. We're not, top of the league, but we're pretty good. I mean, you lit up. Well, to be fair, you got a little bailed out there because the rain came in and ruined poor Matt Manning's start. Matt Manning, who was coming off of, back-to-back really good starts, and then he was starting and he was doing pretty well through 2 innings, and then, God said no, apparently. The rain had to come down, and
the rain should have helped you. It doesn't rain in San Diego.
This is true, but it was basically a free break. It was a way for you guys to charge up your power and then score like 1 million runs on poor Mason Englert. He was a Rule 5 pick. You bullied a Rule 5 draft pick.
Unlucky.
That's just not very nice.
I just wish we could have just, I just want to win more baseball games. I
Yeah.
would like to be actually not below 500.
Mhm.
I'd like to be
Mm.
above and well
Yeah.
above, but we're not.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know what that's like. I the last time we finished above 500, I think, was 2014,
Hmm.
maybe 2015.
Yep.
The one time I can recall being above 500 was last year's opening day when we won on opening day. So that was I remember being above
That's
500 there. That
right
was
there.
that was
That's
the
the win.
brief
You hold
moment.
those.
That was the moment when I thought Al Avila had performed the redemption arc of a century, and then
Hmm.
after that game, like if they would have ended the season on that game,
Yep.
life would have been perfect. A
Yeah.
walk-off win, opening day, the White Sox,
Beautiful.
and then everything just fell apart from there. It was
And then it goes
artistic,
boom.
really. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
good.
Something like that. Yeah.
But other stories surrounding many of things. I got to talk about the man on the thumbnail, Mr. Michael Lorenzen,
Hmm.
who is our all-star pitcher. I have to say that with a straight face. But
Well,
article here. Astros and Rays I was going to say the A's. I don't think the A's should be targeting anybody other than
nope.
maybe an arena in Las Vegas.
I think, yeah, they're probably going to die as an organization.
Astros Rays targeting all-star starting pitcher Michael Lorenzen. Now I said this before, or I said this, I guess before the show, pre-show with you. Do not trade with the Rays. You will never win. The
Correct.
Rays, they have like some sort of time travel device. Like they can see into the future. I don't know what it is. I want somebody to find me a trade where they just like got completely swindled, because I don't think it happens. Like every major trade that I can think of that involves the Rays, they just end up winning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I saw that, I'm like, okay, Astros, sure. Rays, no, don't do that. I don't care what whatever they're offering
You already know.
If it seems like it's really good, don't do it, because
That's how they get you.
Literally, that is actually what happens. They don't like. They will find the most like innocuous play. Like it makes seem like you're giving up, pennies on the dollar, when in reality you're giving up your home bank account and your entire life savings. Like I don't know how they do it, but
I couldn't tell you either.
As far as Michael Lorenzen goes,
yes,
Michael Lorenzen having a career year. He was an all-star. And he pitched pretty well in the All-Star game. He pitched only 2/3 of an inning, but he pitched well.
That's something.
And I would hate to see him go just because he's having a good year, but he's only on a 1-year deal. And
it's more of a drop him off.
Right. I mean, but there are teams that I could see him going to. Talking about the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati having a really good year. And where did Michael Lorenzen play for most of his career? That was Cincinnati. Now, he was never that good of a pitcher for Cincinnati. I think he used to hit actually pretty well. Okay. This was before Universal DH. And I don't know. I could see him going to the Reds. Just give me Ellie De La Cruz. I'll just, one for one. How does that feel?
Ellie's coming to San Diego. I don't know.
He's not coming
to
San Diego. I did not hear that. I heard, in fact, that he told me on the phone, San Diego is bad. That's what he told me on the phone.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, Michael Lorenzen for Ellie De La Cruz. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna see we got video footage of the Tigers game. I didn't even mention this. The Tigers were going through some technical difficulties, but now we're back. We have some video. I don't know what the score is. Last I saw, it was 2-0.
It's still
Jake
2-0.
Rogers just swung on and missed. I guess he struck out. Is that the end of the inning? They don't have the scoreboard. What is the score? Like, cut to like the board. I don't know what the score. This is terrible.
2-0.
Is it still 2-0?
2-0 Angels.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So Michael Lorenzen, he is one of the guys that I think we should be trading. If we don't trade him, I would be pretty confused. I wouldn't say I would be like devastated, because here's my thing, and I'll talk about this. I got to rant a little bit about Tigers fans. I'll talk about this, but like, if we keep him, my assumption is that we plan on re-signing him. We're not just going to let him walk.
I would
right?
assume.
Like that
after
would
the
be
year
what I'm
of
thinking.
having.
Either that or whatever the teams that are thinking they want to get him are offering is not good
Mhm.
enough, according to Scott Harris. Which
Right.
take for that what you will. I mean, he's only been here for a year, and I can't
Mhm.
really judge him as a general manager / president of baseball ops because he's only been here for a year. So if he doesn't like something, then okay, I guess I just sort of have to trust his judgment for now.
Right.
And similarly, I didn't put it in the show notes because there was no news around it, is Eduardo Rodriguez, who is pitching tonight. He's only given up the 2 runs. I don't know how many innings. Seth, what's going on? How many innings are we
Let's
working
see. We are at the end of the 2nd inning,
on?
and
What?
it's still 2-0.
Wait. In all that time, it's only been an inning? Jeez.
Mhm.
Okay, well, all right. Hopefully he has a good start by the end of the. If he only gives up 2 runs, that's a pretty good start. This will be potentially his final start. And Michael Lorenzen's final start, I believe, would be tomorrow, potentially. Again, assuming these trades don't happen like today.
Right.
Okay, we're looking at the screen. I want to. Do we have the scoreboard? I know you already told me it, but I want to see it with my own eyes.
I guarantee it. No.
I don't think they have the scoreboard. This is amazing.
Yeah.
This is like I'm watching a game from like the 80s. Is this what it was like? I gotta ask my
must have
dad
been.
about this. How did they follow game? Like seriously,
You
you
don't.
had to just be locked in at all
Mhm.
times to just
Yeah.
like know what was know what the score was, know who like what was going, what inning it was. Crazy. I don't know how people do it.
I couldn't tell you.
So other baseball news.
Mhm.
We had to talk a little bit about where is it? About Mr. Shohei Ohtani. So we're getting a bunch of things about Shohei Ohtani.
Mr.
So
Baseball.
one thing that I saw was from Jim Bowden from The Athletic, who said a couple of days ago, and by a couple of days ago I mean yesterday, who said, according to my latest intel, Shohei Ohtani and your Juan Soto are not being traded at the deadline. Now, Juan Soto, not shocked at all. They literally just traded to get him last year. Like there would
Mhm.
be, I don't understand what you're thinking if you just trade him again.
Right.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Correct.
But the Shohei not getting traded, and
Mhm.
somebody left a comment on the Shohei trade clip, and he said he this person, I don't know if he was an Angels fan, I don't know what he didn't say, but he said he wasn't sure if they were even going to trade him, which to me is very surprising because I guess again it is that you will be signing him if you don't trade him because you're not just going to let the greatest baseball player potentially of all time just walk. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of the greatest baseball player of all time, he just popped out into left, so that's good. And I don't know. It's like I feel like I'm like if he doesn't get traded, I feel like I'm just like
Yeah.
like it's like come on, we've been hyping this up. I want to see what that package looks like. I want to see like 5 guys for Shohei Ohtani. Like I really want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see him play for a team that actually has a future and not the Angels, who are perpetual losers and never able to do anything right.
You said it, not me.
Hey, you probably know a lot of Angels fans back at home.
Mhm.
Would they tell me that I'm wrong? Like I
Probably
don't.
not.
It's like, and see, here's the thing, right? Tigers suck, right? We really don't have any superstars, though, right? Like we have Miggy, but he's dead. He's a 40-year-old vet.
I was gonna say
he's not Miggy of
prehistoric.
yesteryear.
Yeah.
But they have 2 of the top 2 baseball players in the league. And well, to be fair, Mike Trout has been getting a little bit hurt more. But even when they had him, right? Like
Mhm.
they've had him and they've had Ohtani, and they have yet to win a playoff series.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. I'm sorry, Angels fans, but your team kind of blows all the time. I don't know what it is. You know what?
It's true.
It's a mystery. But on Ohtani, the other big thing was this rumor that was going around about where some of the teams that could land, because I do think he's going to get traded. I don't know where you stand on this. I guess
I think I think the Angels are, if they don't trade him, they're probably one of the dumbest organizations ever.
Well, Well,
you know.
boy, boy, do I have a revelation for you.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have thrown that out there, but
Yeah,
go on.
right. But some of the rumors here coming out from Bleacher Report, execs name the Orioles, the Rays, the Blue Jays as the top landing spots for Shohei, and then also earlier today I didn't add it because I just was going to remember it. The Yankees were also added to that list of teams that have sort of asked about Shohei Ohtani.
Essentially, other than the Yankees, well, the best teams in baseball.
Right, right. And the other thing that's also interesting, all teams in the American League East division.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at this stage in the game, it's pretty much set. The AL East is the best division in baseball. Like the Yankees are in last place, but the Yankees are better than pretty much every team in the AL Central. I would say absolutely better than every team in the AL Central. Better than, I'd say at least the bottom two teams in the NL West. Better than the NL Central.
Yeah.
Maybe not better than the Reds. The Reds are interesting. But like you know what I mean? It's like that division is so good. And I think like as far as teams that could make that deal, the Rays absolutely. And we already talked about the Rays. If I think I'm rooting for the Rays to make this trade. Because not only because the Rays could use it, because that's a team that is like bottom 5 spender pretty much every year. They are cheap as hell, and yet they still manage to win and develop players and high-end talent and all that jazz. But like we talked about it before, if they trade for Shohei Ohtani, guarantee you it'll be like highway robbery. It'll be like the biggest steal in the history of professional sports. I'm going to put that on the ground. It will be like, well, for one, they probably could win the World Series, which would be awesome because Tampa's never won. I'd absolutely be rooting for Tampa. And secondly, it would be for like if you're the Angels, I don't think you could live that down. I like Artie Moreno might have to sell the team out of shame. Like such to let something like Shohei Ohtani, which will potentially never happen, go for peanuts. Like I've witnessed firsthand the Rays' ability to swindle teams in just cruel fashion. We traded for Austin Meadows, who, when we traded for him, he had 100 RBIs the season prior. He was like a 25 homer guy. He was great. It was going to be awesome. All it cost us was a little player named Isaac Paredes. Who the hell is Isaac Paredes? I don't know who that is. Austin Meadows has yet to hit a home run because he hasn't played for the team. Because Austin Meadows, well, first things first, he got an ear infection. Okay. And that ear infection, you've gotten an ear infection. Everybody's gotten an ear infection at some point, right? This was the ear infection from hell. Okay. This ear infection gave him vertigo to where he could not see the ball because he was just dizzy all the time. And then he gets over that. He's going to do a rehab assignment in AAA Toledo. He breaks his Achilles. Okay. Not good. Step back. He breaks his Achilles. But on the other foot, he broke both his Achilles.
What?
He broke both of his Achilles. And then he starts getting depressed because he can't play and nothing is going right. So he's like, I can't play the rest of the year because I'm sad. And I'm like, I'm sad too. Like, what is happening? And meanwhile, it's not even like Isaac Paredes was like amazing, but he was on the field. So I'm saying this right now. If the Rays trade for Shohei Ohtani, it will be the biggest steal in all of sports. They will make the Angels look like utter morons, even more than the Angels already look like morons because they can't win a playoff series with two of the best baseball players ever on the same team at once.
Yeah,
it's literally it is almost as bad as if Murderers Row never won a World Series. Like the Yankees with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and all these. It'd be like if they never won a World Series. This is essentially the modern day equivalent. Yeah. But the other teams, I would also be happy for the Orioles, I guess. The Blue Jays, I don't know. Like, it's Canada. So
that's the thing.
I instinctively have a disdain.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think most of us Americans do. But honestly, I would prefer he goes to that,
Right.
division. I hope he doesn't come over to
Right.
LA for that other team.
Right.
But
How
I mean,
far? Oh, I guess the Angels play in Anaheim. I was gonna say,
yeah,
how far is that? So,
yeah.
you know,
He'd
decently
be
far.
going up the road
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm hoping. I don't have a horse in the race for any of those teams in the AL,
Right.
but it would be really cool to see him go to a team, not the Dodgers, any team that he goes to that like if they win, let's say hypothetically a World Series and they've never won
Mhm.
before,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Really would. I
But
think a team that hasn't been mentioned, the Rangers, that would be
mm,
very interesting. That's another team that's never won a World Series. They have the capital to be able to pull it off.
yeah, I was gonna say that's the other thing too, is the teams that seem like they could pull this off are those three that we mentioned in the AL. Unfortunately,
Right.
the Dodgers. Um, like there are teams that could pull this off. I'm just really hoping that it works out. And
Mhm.
again, this is all based on the fact that we both believe he will be traded.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get traded,
If he doesn't get traded, I mean, I
they better
guess they're
win.
gonna. Yeah, well, if he
They
doesn't
got to
get
win a
traded,
playoff
they.
series
Yeah,
at
right.
least.
It's like you're going to extend him then, right? Like, there's no way.
That's the other thing.
And then what? You're gonna pay him $1 billion? Like,
Are the Angels going to pay him and Mike Trout like a gazillion dollars apiece?
there's no salary cap.
I
I
mean,
mean, like,
the
if
owners could
you're,
do that, but
I'm saying, like, would it in in the mind of an MLB owner, in the mind of any financial investment, like, would it be a right move to put all of this on these two players?
I was going to say
I mean, like,
that's not going to
maybe,
pay
like,
off.
I guess it depends. Like, you've done a terrible job at putting together a pitching staff. Every year, the Angels pitching sucks, minus Shohei Ohtani, and you do a pretty good job with offense. Like, it's not without effort.
Hmm.
And I just like if they just try to run it. If I'm Shohei, I don't know if I would want to just sign their extension. Like, they
No.
would have to give me like an illegal amount of money, essentially. They'd have to do like that soccer player just got from Saudi Arabia who got like $1
Mhm.
billion.
What's his
I don't
name?
even I don't Mbappe or something like that.
Nice job.
Is that his
Good job,
name?
Mike. Yep.
Yeah, Mbappe. They'd have to give him that contract, like $1 billion a year. Like,
Mhm.
honestly, like it had to be something absurd. It's like it's funny. Like, this is another topic of conversation that I've thought about. I think we've talked about it before.
Mhm.
Of like how because there's obviously a threshold to where he would take a team's money if he otherwise didn't want to. Like, he doesn't want to come to the Tigers, but like how much money? Like, how many zeros do we have to add to
To get him.
like because there has to be a number, right?
Mhm.
Like, if we offered him $1 billion, what's he gonna say? No, like,
Yeah, I don't think so. But the
like, of
thing is,
course,
if the Angels do re-sign him and they keep Mike Trout, which I'm assuming
right,
they would try and do,
right.
if they do not win a World Series,
It's
that is going to
another.
be like
It'll be one of
the
the great sports
worst,
failures.
yeah, the worst failures, worst investments of like all time.
Well, it's like I'm trying to think of what's a comp to something like that. Like, what I can't think of one in what's like a good football one. Like,
I don't know.
because like it'd be like if the Chiefs never won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes or something.
And that contract that he's got.
Yeah, right. Like he's or something. Or trying to think of an actual example that happened. Because I mean, for one, in the
That's the thing, I
NFL,
don't
there's
think
not a
there
lot
really
of there's
has.
well, like in the NFL, there's much less teams that have never won a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
As opposed to in baseball it's similar, but there's some teams that have taken so long. It's like so long, you might as well not have won.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the then Cleveland Indians won in like
Mhm.
1940. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, you might as well not have won. You
It's
might as well be the
yeah.
Rays because
Yeah.
everyone who watched that World Series is either has Alzheimer's or is dead.
Yeah.
And or both.
Or both.
Yeah. So, man, I
It's
really want to see him traded just because
I do
he's
too.
so much fun, and I hate that I don't get to watch him in October because I don't get to watch him generally, right? Because
Mhm.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of. The only time I get to watch him is when the Tigers play the Angels.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, and even now, I barely get to watch it because Bally Sports doesn't want to have the broadcast on. But
Maybe
like,
Shohei, maybe he broke it.
it's like imagine him pitching a Game 7 and then hitting in Game 7 in the World Series. That would honestly, like baseball is already in
awesome.
decline in terms of like audience. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I feel like if they could do this, if they could market, hey, by the way, Game 7 of the World Series, and the starting pitcher is also the designated hitter, and this hasn't happened since Babe Ruth. You're telling me like casual fans wouldn't be like, hey, yeah, sure, I'll throw it on. I don't see this Japanese guy named Otani. I don't know. They don't know how to pronounce his name.
They'd be sitting
they're
there on
not
the
familiar.
TV and they'd
Oh,
be
and by
like,
the way, we finally got the score.
Well, I know that. They bring the head comb.
My words exactly, Lou. We finally got the scoreboard, by the way, so I can see it is still, in fact, 2-0.
2-0 at the end of the third.
Spencer Torkelson, I saw he hit a really high fly ball to the deepest part of the ballpark, but it just got caught.
Yeah.
America Park things. But I think, is that all the... Okay, there was one more thing, very briefly. Tigers were interested in a guy named Alec Thomas. Now, normally I wouldn't really look at these sorts of things because, I mean, unless it's like a big name, I'm really not going to talk about it unless it happens. But Alec Thomas was interesting to me because I looked up his stat line and it was very interesting. So here's some of his splits. So on the year, Alec Thomas is 23 years old. He's an outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Looking at his numbers, 241 average, 88 OPS. He's got 6 home runs, 18 RBIs. He's played 203 at bats. Not anything special, right?
He's kind of meh. He's just there.
Right, not anything special. Obviously, 23 years old. He could have some upside. Fine.
Sure.
Now here's the thing. Okay, those numbers do not tell the whole story because his splits are so weird. Like when he bats against lefties, okay? Or first, let me give you his righties numbers. So batting against righties, he is I believe he's a left-handed batter. Yes, he's a left-handed batter against righties. 286 average, 800 OPS.
Oh,
pretty good.
Yeah.
Now you're like, wait a minute, but his numbers before, he had a sub 7. Well, that's because against left-handed pitching, 071 average, 257 OPS in 42 ABs. He has 3 hits, 3 for 42 against lefties. And that is exactly why his numbers are not that good. Because
that's
amazingly, by the way, he has a home run against a lefty.
Oh.
Most of his home runs come from righties, obviously. He's got 6 on the year, 5 of them are from righties. And I mean, look, 23-year-old player. Hey, everybody needs pitching. You want Michael Lorenzen in Arizona? You want Eduardo Rodriguez? You want Jason Foley, Alex Lang? All those guys. Hey, there you go. They're all yours. Just give me Alec Thomas, maybe a hitting prospect in your system, and we're good to go. I just thought it was an interesting thing. I was like, because I saw his numbers and I was like, oh well, I mean, he's not like all that impressive. He's already in the major leagues, but like, boy, oh boy, it was shocking to see those splits. It was amazing. But
that's one way to put it.
I think that's the end of the baseball stuff. Do you have any other final remarks? What do you?
No,
nothing.
No Padres. Nope.
So no Padres should be traded. What are your feelings? Should the Padres be buying or selling, or should they just stamp out?
I say just
stamp out.
I say ride the rest of the year, ride the wave,
right?
Because I'm hoping and praying to the Lord above that this is a fluke year, right? And if we run it back next year, maybe we'll have roster changes.
Yeah. I mean,
but
Matt Carpenter will no longer be on the team.
Well, we'll miss his mustache, but we're not gonna miss his numbers. Just throwing that out there.
Boy.
But I'm just saying, if we can run it back, similar roster, kind of similar core, if we can keep the same core, and just run it back, I think I'm hoping and praying that this is a fluke year. But I think the Padres should just steadfast ride the wave and deal with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think the Tigers should sell. I think we have more things to sell than I thought we did. So happy to see that. And I kind of want to see Scott Harris make some deals. And we need some bats. Our offense is terrible. And we seem to be able to get pitchers off of, I don't know, we just grow them on trees. So
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you ask around if teams are interested in Eduardo Rodriguez? Teams are interested in, and I think Eduardo Rodriguez. No, that's not a home run. Never mind. Okay, we're good. I got a little nervous there.
Yeah, well,
I was just
yeah.
talking about trading him. Okay, it's just a fly out.
That's fine.
No harm, no foul. Eduardo Rodriguez, certainly, I think a left-handed, pitcher who's having a career year.
Mhm.
I think he could get you something.
Yeah.
Certainly Jason Foley, who's also having a great year out of the bullpen. Michael Lorenzen, we already talked about him, all-star year, career year. He's not an ace, but he's like pitching depth. Like instead of a bullpen day, you have a Michael Lorenzen day. Instead of maybe one of your arms goes down. Hey, Michael Lorenzen, why don't you start? I mean,
Exactly.
if you have a good enough pitching staff, you could even put him in the bullpen. Like you basically just put a starting pitcher in the bullpen.
It's true.
Like so.
Yeah.
I think Tigers should sell. If they don't sell, and this is where I almost forgot. I want to rant a little bit about Tigers fans because
Correct.
people are a little goofy. Okay.
Well, of
People
course.
think for some reason that a general manager is making their decision whether or not to buy or sell based on like recency bias. Gentlemen, people, that's not how this works. For one, if the GM was thinking, oh, well, we won a couple of games after the All-Star break, I want to buy, then he's not worth his salt. He's probably a stupid GM, and he's not going to be successful.
Sure.
And on the flip side, if he chooses to sell because the team starts to stumble, then he's also not worth his salt. And I just like it bothers me when I see Tigers fans who are like, oh, we gotta lose or else we're not going to sell. It's like, guys, he's not an idiot. Like, and even if he is an idiot, then fine, he's an idiot. We'll fire him in 2 years.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing you can do about it. Whether or not the team wins or loses, idiot is going to make an idiot move. Okay,
that's correct.
And a smart guy is going to make a smart move. And I alluded to it a little bit before because I know there's going to be some Tigers fans. Let's say we end up keeping, I don't know, Jason Foley or Eduardo Rodriguez or something.
Mhm.
There's going to be some Tigers fans who are going to be all pissed off. Why didn't we trade this guy? And it's like, well, maybe, and this may shock you, maybe we just didn't get any offers that we liked. And then, what do you mean? What about this guy? Maybe they weren't on the table. You see, it's really easy to play general manager, to play MLB The Show, and, go find, Texas's top 100 prospects. Oh, I want this guy. I want this guy. That's not how this works, okay? If you like them, well, then good shot. The Texas Rangers probably like them. The way that you win trades is by getting someone that they don't think they would actually want, right? You're not going to win, like, unless they are desperate and they're willing and they're like, okay, fine, we'll give you this guy, even though we like him, we'll give you this guy because this need is immediately more important to us because we want to win the World Series this year. And I got to deal with, Detroit sports fans are already a special bunch because they're very sensitive. They don't like it when their team loses, but they also don't like it when their team is good sometimes. It's really weird.
It's uncomfortable for them.
It is. I don't understand though. It's like we can't like, I have to deal with it because right now it's like we have the Lions coming up and I think the Lions are going to be a really good team this year and the Tigers who are not a really good team. And it's like when the Tigers suck, we're all upset. We don't want them to suck. What are we doing? Why can't we suck? And then I'm like, hey, the Lions, I think they're going to be, oh no, the Lions are going to disappoint. It's like, why are you even a fan? Why do you turn on the games every Sunday? Like, exactly. I don't know how I can live this way. And, like, San Diego is obviously not as much of a sports town, I don't think, as Detroit, especially given, well, the everyone leaving, for better or for worse. Like,
we're getting an MLS team.
Oh, there you go.
That's something.
That way, all 13 people who watch MLS will be able to root for the San Diego. I don't know, Moroccans. I don't know
what the name is. Yeah,
San Diego Spirit. The MLS teams always have the weirdest names. They're like abstract.
Yeah,
the San Diego Justice.
It's being voted on at some point. That's all I know.
The San Diego Flying Pigs.
Yes,
that's one of my favorite teams.
I would support that team. I'm gonna.
It's like,
anyway, but.
It's like. It just seems like we're like gluttons for punishment in a weird way, and we don't want to we think we're better than we are when we're bad, and when we're good, we think we're just gonna disappoint. And it's like, guys, I don't know how you exist. I don't know how you can turn on the games every night or every week. I just don't understand. If you're just like, oh well, the Lions, they're just gonna be the Lions and they're gonna disappoint, and I don't know. Dan Campbell's a meathead, even though he's clearly demonstrated he's not just a total idiot and he actually knows something about football.
Yeah,
probably knows more about football than you. I mean, like, I hate to play I hate to play the game of like, you go be the GM, but honestly, it annoys me when I just hear people who are like, oh, we should have done that. It's like, okay, you know what? Here, it's like, why don't you
do it?
You be the general manager. You manage all the egos in every room, and you tell players that they're bad or that you don't want. It's like, you can't just like, it's not a video game. Like, it's not Madden. You can't just like, run a fake punt and, I don't know, spin around and think it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And similarly, you can't just be like, oh, well, I would have ran this play. This is just a general fan rant because it's just so obnoxious because it's just not true. It's not true. Like, you are happy when things succeed, so you don't question whatever call it was. Like, nobody questions a fake punt when it works.
It's
right.
True.
But when it doesn't work, everyone's, oh, why'd you fake it? Because they thought it would work. That's why. In the same, why'd you sign that guy? Why? Because we thought he would be good. Why'd you make this trade? Because we thought it would, like,
we thought it would work.
Either you trust the person running it or you don't. And look, some guys, the trust runs thin. With Al Avila, the trust ran pretty thin because nothing he did ever worked. But like, what am I supposed to do with Brad Holmes when pretty much everything he's done for the Lions has made the team better year after year, tangibly better in positions that were terrible years prior, went to be strong suits the year after? Like, what am I supposed to do? Just be like, oh, well, they're the Lions. It's like, that's just it's so like, if this was the Patriots, if it was the same situation, exact same thing. But keep in mind, the Patriots were a lot like the Lions before Tom Brady. They didn't win a whole lot of championships in the 70s. I don't know if you watched a lot of Patriots football. They weren't really all that good for a long time. And the Tigers just got on the board. Thank goodness. 2-1. I don't know who got the RBI. Oh, it's Javi Baez, our $20 million man.
Very nice.
But look, I could rant about Detroit sports fans forever. We have many other stories to get to. Namely, in the NFL, do we want to do Commanders? Do we want to do Give Me a Heart Attack? Do we want? What do you think?
What's a good start here?
Because there's a lot of NFL related things that have happened.
They don't really tie together. I say we go Heart Attack first.
Heart Attack? Okay.
Why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So, yesterday morning, I think. Yeah, it was in the morning. Yesterday morning, I'm at work, just doing my thing, going to work, just completing assignments, checking up on things. Get a little notification on my phone. Let me pull it up. Pull up the exact notification I got.
Yep.
From @Tom Pelissero on Twitter. Quote tweeting a tweet from Tim 20man, who is a like Lions guy, like he works for the Lions organization.
Yep.
And I quote, veteran Lions DB CJ Gardner Johnson went down with a right leg injury Monday and was carted off the field. He was visibly upset, and team captains Isaiah Buggs, and Jared Goff, made it a point to go comfort him, hoping for better news than it looked. And then Tom Pelissero quote tweeting this, saying, a source described it as a non-contact knee injury for CJ Gardner Johnson, one of the big free agent signings, free agent additions for Detroit. Seth, when I read this, I'm pretty sure my heart stopped. It was like a sinking feeling. It was like going down on a roller coaster. You just went on roller coasters.
I did.
This past Sunday. It was like that feeling of like, oh no, it's all starting. It's like, I was like, oh gosh, it's ACL. He's out for the season. We signed this guy for 1 year. I don't know how that works. Does he get to come back? Or do we have to re-sign him? Does he want to come back? I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. I'm frightened. I don't know what to do. He made me so happy. He made fun of Philly fans because they're terrible people and they deserve to have their human rights revoked. I was beside myself. I said it was over. The season was over. 12 wins, gone. Division, gone. Playoffs, gone. Dan Campbell's going to be fired because CJ Gardner Johnson's knee went to take a trip down to Saskatchewan.
Well, I don't get the rain man cold.
Thank you, Lou. Hours later.
That's what I just heard, by the way. I don't know if anyone else heard that.
This is literally, actually not hours later. This is about an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? From Tom Pelissero again. There's optimism that Lions DB CJ Gardner Johnson's knee injury is not serious, per sources. More tests to come after CJ Gardner Johnson went down to practice today, but as one source put it, quote, he's fine. And it turned out more information today. MRI was negative, and Dan Campbell, head coach, confirmed it was day-to-day. Seth, this was the biggest emotional roller coaster I've ever been on as a Lions fan. And that's saying a lot. I've been through it all. I've been through the faux hands to the face call against Aaron Rodgers. I've been through the Hail Mary from Aaron Rodgers. A lot of these involve Aaron Rodgers. Hail Mary from Aaron Rodgers. I've been through the picking up the pass interference flag against the Cowboys. I've been through it all. And yet, nothing will amount to the CJ Gardner Johnson saga.
Yep.
Oh
and that's
my gosh.
somewhat concerning.
Yeah.
It's only mildly concerning. But anyway.
Yeah. Adam is in the chat. Erod needs to go and bundle takes and any bundle it takes to get rid of Harvey. Referring to, of course, Harvey Baez, our favorite shortstop. Yeah, Adam, I agree. 100%. Although I've thought about this as far as bundles for Harvey. It'll probably have to be something good, including Harvey, just because, I don't know if anybody would really want him. But Erod, I mean, right now he's okay. Is that can we get that catch? Nope, that's a double. Or no, it's not. He fielded it. Okay. Oh no, it's still a double. Okay.
Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, hopefully Erod doesn't give up any more runs.
We'll see.
But yeah, we were talking about that earlier in the show. Erod, I would definitely say we should probably be trading. But
probably
that was my heart attack moment this week. So
yes,
this week. This was just yesterday. What a crazy day! Crazy. I went from Lions season is over to we're back. Yep. It was.
I legitimately thought you were going to die. I thought
I was ready. I was ready for sad show tomorrow of Mike trying to hold back his tears as
I lead the show.
CJ Gardner. Yeah. Seth just goes ahead and takes the helm.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't take it. That would have been too bad.
Of course not.
So yeah, that was my experience yesterday.
Yeah.
And yeah, also I alluded to it. CJ Gardner Johnson said that Eagles fans were quote like horrible effers or something like that. It was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, oh man, I love this man. And then for a moment you thought that there was some sort of voodoo magic that Philly fans did to make him lose his knee. But he's good. It's fine. We're moving past it. He's fine.
It's fine. Doesn't matter. Also,
random news. It was earlier last week. The Lions traded for Denzel Mims from the Jets. Wide receiver. And he didn't get a whole lot of targets. But
yeah,
I mean, hey, it's the Jets, and I feel like they always lose every trade because it's the Jets. So I feel like we're gonna get somebody who's maybe not like a wide receiver one, but probably a decent guy.
I was gonna say he's still just an addition to the wide receiver room. So
right. It already has. Once Jameson Williams comes back, you already have Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., Kelly Freeman.
It's a pretty good receiver room as it is.
It's like it's already like a pretty solid group that we have. So yeah, things are good.
Things are looking on the up and up here in Detroit.
Hopefully. I'm begging, please.
We'll see.
Want to talk about this Washington Commanders thing because obviously big news of the week last week was that Dan Snyder, Dan the man, he finally sold the team for like $1 billion. I think I have the link here. Yeah, it was $6 billion with a B. $6 billion to Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. Johnson, of course, MSU. legend and
Mhm.
obviously a legend in the NBA with the Lakers.
Correct.
Josh Harris, however, you probably know him as the owner of the 76ers.
Correct.
Also the owner of the New Jersey Devils. So this will be,
Mm.
he now has ownership of 3 teams across 3 different leagues.
I was gonna say,
Also across 3 different locations.
yeah, that was
Uh,
the weird thing, was that
yeah,
he has a Philly team, a New Jersey team,
right.
and now it's gonna be a Washington team, which we're gonna hope and pray.
Well,
The
like,
Redskins.
right, Redskins, they're back.
Yeah,
Did you
they're
imagine
back.
the promo?
They're back, baby.
And it's just like right back to where they were. Now,
Yep.
we talk about that because the second, well, also by the way, Dan Snyder was fined $60 million for his antics, which is basically like if you took $5 from me. So
Pretty much.
I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't gonna fine him like $150 billion. So I mean, like, people are gonna
It's
say like it's nothing, but like,
yeah.
you know, I don't think it's nothing exactly. I exaggerate. Like, maybe it's nothing to his total net worth, but like
It's
it's
something.
not. It's like if somebody. I'm trying to think of what's actually a real comparable example. Like if somebody took like $100 from me, like it's
Mhm.
not nothing, but it's like I can make that back pretty quickly. It's probably a
Yes.
similar. Like I would rather
It's
nobody
similar for
take the
him.
$100, right? Like
That's the whole moral, but then again, he did make a cool PowerPoint.
he did make
So
a
I
fantastic
personally,
PowerPoint.
I think it would be worth it. If I'm Dan Snyder, I think
Oh
it's
yeah.
worth it. That's
Oh
just
yeah.
me.
No, I mean he made out, right? Because he bought the
Yeah.
team for like $1 million or so
Yeah,
back
it
in like the
was
90s or 2000s.
mhm.
And he got to sell it for $1 billion. Like he made a
Yep.
profit. And
And a
you
handsome
know,
one.
Dan Snyder, the businessman, knows how to do
Mhm.
business. Dan Snyder, the human being, does not
D
know how to be a good human being. He's still working on
he
that.
makes PowerPoints,
But
it's
here's the thing that really got me about this is
mhm.
this quote, pretty good chance that the team will change the name after the Dan Snyder set. And they further confirm this
Mhm.
when they're talking about they want to get rid of all the, you know, history of Dan Snyder from the team. Now, I'm assuming, of course, they're alluding to the Commanders' name specifically because obviously the team was the Redskins before Dan Snyder took ownership.
Right.
Now, I guess that we joke, like, what are some names that we could see? Because nobody likes Commanders. And there are some weirdos who might say, oh, actually, I don't think it's that bad. Guys, it's not that good of a game. I mean, like, you
Uh,
went from a cool Native American, like, one of the coolest logos in sports. I love the old Redskins logo,
mhm.
to the Commanders with just a
Well,
W and no.
let's not forget about the Washington football team.
That's true. That's also that's also his name. The Angels just scored another run. It was a sacrifice fly, but okay, fun. We have a terrible record on Tuesdays. I'm not expecting much. But I mean, there is the Red Tails. I've seen that, like the pilots.
Mm.
With the I don't know, it's like a fighter jet.
Yep.
There's the Red Wolves. It's kind of a cool.
I
We don't
like
have
that.
I don't think we have a wolf team. I don't think we have a dog team in the NFL. I guess the
Mm-mm.
Browns have the dog pound, but they're the Browns. They're not. They're not the
Nobody cares about the
dogs.
Browns.
This is true.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like it'd be kind of cool. The
Yeah.
one that caught my I heard this today.
Mhm.
I want to hear what you feel about this because I don't even know if you heard this.
I probably haven't.
The Spartans.
Hmm.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I don't either.
Okay. Okay. So
Because to me,
it's Michigan State,
yeah,
right? Like, there aren't any other Spartans. I mean, like,
there's the San Jose Spartans in college.
that's what I think of them, and that's what everybody else thinks of them.
That is true. That's not
like,
the
yeah,
go-to,
okay,
obviously.
yeah, sure. San Jose Spartans, but like, there are maybe some other random teams, like
sure
major
there are.
sports or major college. Everybody, when you think of the Spartans,
You think of
if
Michigan State.
you think of Michigan State, and like,
Yeah.
I get like the only reason that I think this could happen is
Mhm.
because Magic Johnson is like
A
part
Spartan.
of the ownership group.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't I don't want him to do that because it's like, well, for one, you should know as a Spartan yourself, like, no,
Yeah.
that's a Michigan State's thing. They've been the Spartans for
Mm-hmm.
a very, very long time.
Indeed.
There's no reason to just like put a pro team as the Spartans. Now
Yeah.
you could do, although it would be kind of ironic, right? Because like, okay, I don't want to re-up the Redskins name controversy because I think it's generally speaking pretty much in bad faith. I think people who think it's super offensive are arguing in bad faith, and I think people who think it's like the greatest name ever are also potentially being bad faith. Like, it was a fine name. I don't think
it was cool.
It was like nobody had a problem with it until they had a problem with it, right? And they're not going to rename it the Redskins. We pretty much rule that out. They're probably not going to go back to the Redskins.
As much as we want to.
As much as I would think it would be the funniest thing in the world. And I think even the people who like hated the name would be like, you know what? That's kind of bold. Like, that's kind of bold that they just go right back to the Redskins. Because like you can't just be like outraged, right? Because they would like the people changing the name back would be like, yeah, we just don't believe you. Like, we just think you're wrong. We're gonna go to the Redskins. But the other thing that I heard was like it's like the Red Hogs or like something pig related because they have, I don't really know much about their history, but apparently there was some hog or pig because they have the mascot, right? Who's like a pig. And as some relation to the history of the team where there was a hog or a pig. I mean, we don't have any pig teams.
Well, hey, that could be
the Washington Warthogs. I'm gonna be honest. It'd be kind of cool, like if you had like with those color with the red or the maroon and
I was gonna say
gold,
it works well,
and you have like
that.
think of like Arkansas, right? The Razorbacks. If you had something similar to that with like I don't know, maybe just like the head and like the fangs coming out of the mouth there, I feel like that'd be kind of cool. They just scored another run, by the way. This is not looking good for Erod's trade value. But I think like. Yeah, I think if they're going to do a new name, I think you have to do something that is not completely dumb, like the Commanders.
Well,
and on top of that, you also have to do something that is kind of original. Like, I think if you're like, we're the Washington, I mean, we already talked about Spartans, but I don't know we're the Washington, I don't know. I was gonna say Patriots, but there's already a team. What's another name? Like, I don't know. There's the Washington, like the Senators. I don't know. The Washington Senators. It's like, well, for one, there was a Washington Senators. There's currently a Montreal, a Ottawa Senator. It's like, no. Give me a new name. Give me something different. Come up with a different animal. I don't know. Like, why don't we have the Washington Kangaroos? See, that could kind of work because, like, you can do like kangaroo court.
That's true.
I don't know. That might work. I'm just saying. I'm throwing out options. What sort of animals would you like to see? The Washington elephants, like or donkeys, I guess, like because Democrats and Republicans. You could do one of those animals.
Yeah.
Or you could do a mixture of the two. You could do the Washington donk elephants.
Yes.
It's like an elephant with a donkey body.
Correct.
Like it's got the elephant head and a donkey body.
Yeah.
Now that would be
something.
bold.
I would like that.
Could you imagine they pull out with like a helmet with like a goofy elephant donkey body and like nobody would want to play for that team. That would kill free agents. They could be the best. They could be the best team. Nobody would play there. Nobody would want to play there. You would have to get drafted. The only way you'd win is in drafts. You have to have the perfect draft.
Yeah. But I don't know. I can't even think of like cool mascot names just off the top of my head. But definitely not Spartans. No.
That would be.
Don't steal MSU's,
our thunder.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Right. Speaking of thunder and lightning and running quick, the running backs.
That was quite the transition, Mike.
The running back. I'm a professional.
That was really
the
something.
Running backs.
Yes.
Had a Zoom call, Seth.
Uh-huh.
The top running backs. This is from a few days before it happened. They had a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And I find this to be. absolutely hysterical. Because I broke the news to you last week that they were having a group chat, and you were very shocked. And that, lo and behold, that was just the tip of that iceberg. There was so much more because they had a Zoom call.
You want to
What
hear
did
my?
they discuss in this Zoom call? Nobody knows. Strategy, quote unquote. Austin
let's
Eckler.
just Austin Eckler.
I'm so sick of these people. You know, oh!
Thank you, Steve.
Great football player.
Great football.
I really like Austin Eckler. I don't want to get rid of him.
One of the really good ones, yeah.
But was it necessary?
No, I don't.
Are they trying to piss me off more?
I don't. We
Again,
talked about this last week. I don't know
running
what you want
back?
us to do. Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Do you want us to invest? Like, somebody put it this way: it's like it's the difference between investing in a decent house versus a sports car.
Yeah.
The house could last you your whole life. The sports car will last you a few years
Before the value.
before it starts falling apart. You got to
buy a sports car. The value goes whoosh.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It's
And
what do they want?
I
They
think
already
they
lost
kind of
Saquon.
want they want their cake and to eat it too. I mean, like it's like they want to be able to be a running back and not have the skill set outside of good runs and be able to get paid like somebody who has more than just that skill set.
But here's my problem, as I've already voiced, and I actually showed you the meme in the pre-show.
Yeah.
It's the meme of the Buzz Lightyears in Toy Story.
Toy Story, yeah.
Where it's like running backs aren't replaced, like we can't be replaced, and then it's all
It's
running
all
backs
the
in the
Buzz
league.
Lightyears.
It's all Buzz Lightyears, because again, if one of these guys gets injured, Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, anybody else, they get injured for like an entire year.
Yeah.
And you got this, pardon my French, big ass contract. That's a terrible investment. We talked about it last week. It's a business.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate side of business. You put Austin Eckler on the field, sure, he's going to be better than a lot of running backs. But then most of that, as much as I hate to say it, you'd like to think it's probably the O-line. Creating these spaces. It's the play design. It's like you just put the football in your hands and you just run.
I mean, if you
can
put
find 'em
most
anywhere.
wide receivers at their position,
Yeah.
they'd probably still be pretty good, right?
Yeah, like that's the thing. They wouldn't
Tyreek
be like a
Hill would be
below
better
average
than
running
all
back.
of the running backs.
Yeah,
right?
they would
'Cause
be
he's
like
faster
a
than all of
mid.
the running backs.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, if you put him at running back, he'd probably be one of the best in the league because he
already has the hold the ball and run skill, and he also has like the field view skill. Like,
yeah,
so
like,
he's
that's
got
the
the
thing.
skills, but then also
yeah.
he can catch the ball. He can run routes. He can juke out more defenders in high space. He can jump up and make it's not if your skills are you can hand the ball off to me and I can run, or you can toss the ball and I can run, or
Now, granted,
you can block. I guess that's another skill that you need as a running back.
it's something, and this isn't to like demean any of the NFL quarterbacks because they're all running backs, because obviously they are like the best.
They're incredible athletes.
They're incredible athletes. But what do you do that some guy who's coming out of college who gets drafted couldn't do? I mean, sure, maybe you got think of guys, historically that can break tackles. They're big, right?
Right.
That's a unique thing for running backs sometimes.
Right.
Like I think of as far as breaking tackles and just keep going. Like you think of, I think of Austin Eckler, but you got Derrick Henry, Marshawn Lynch from a couple years ago. It's you have those guys like that.
Right.
But again, even the best guys that you think of, they all do the same thing. They might have specifics that they're good at, but all in all, running back is put the ball right in the chest and run, and just don't fumble it, and you're good.
Yeah, and to go on your point with Marshawn, we're talking about a guy who has been out of the league for the better part of half a decade. I don't remember when he retired, but it was a pretty long time ago at this point.
Yeah.
And, Derrick Henry, he's still kicking. But like, who are like the bell cow, run your offense around these players, running backs in the league? It's like Derrick Henry and I don't even
really,
know who
the
else.
Titans are the only team who do it.
Like Derrick Henry, kind of Josh Jacobs, kind of, not really.
I guess the Raiders kind of like focus on can kind of run it through him. The first team though that comes to mind.
Practically though, right? Like it's not like
it's the Titans.
It's
the only team.
Like the Titans do that. Oh my gosh, Jake Rogers just hit a freaking moonshot. Oh my gosh, he just smoked that ball. 2-run game for the Tigers. Good for him. But anyway, it's like there's not that many of these kind of players around anymore. I mean, there's for one, just as good as Derrick Henry is, he's not Barry Sanders. There's no Barry Sanders in the league. Not that there ever will be again, but there's no player where you're like, okay, you hand the ball off to them, they're going to make a really big play. Like it's just not a thing.
Yeah, and you have the possibility of doing it, but again, that's kind of just you get lucky with the hole that the O-line makes.
Right. And the other thing, so I know there might be some people who see this, and obviously Detroit sports fan, Lions fan. There's going to be some people, oh, well, you drafted Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. Well, here's the thing about Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not like Derrick Henry. He's a pass-catching running back. You can put him in the slot. A lot of the reason, and Brad Holmes has talked about this, that we drafted him is because he's not like just, Jamal Williams. Like he's not, he's like a Deebo Samuel-esque type player where, he's kind of a running back, but he's like a wide receiver running back where, he'll probably get some handoffs, but he's probably primarily not going to get a whole lot of handoffs.
Probably not.
Like he will probably more likely get, screen passes or tosses or something
and
where
then just run.
Yeah, and then just run. And or like a short, like you need a 5-yard gain. Just here, quick slant route, Jahmyr Gibbs, first down, whatever, or touchdown, whatever. Like, and we talked about this last week too. I think that's kind of the future of the position. I think you're gonna see this is another thing that I wanted to point out, not to go too much on a tangent, is NIL also kind of changes the situation where you have a player like Blake Quorum for U of M, who, I mean, to be fair, in his case, he got hurt. But if he didn't get hurt, he could have gone to the draft. Or he could have guaranteed a little bit more money and been a running back in a system at U of M that favors the run game. So he's going to get a whole lot of carries and probably even ups his draft capital. And, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I think you're going to see those bell cow-esque runners more in college. Just because
that's the type of ball that's played.
Yeah, right. That's the type of ball that's played. And then also, you're not dealing with NFL defenses or offenses that, you need a wide receiver, one deep threat. Like the Spartans, MSU won 11 games. Well, I guess technically 10 games. The 11th game
the regular
didn't play. Like 10 games with Kenneth Walker. He was, Jaden Reed, fantastic player. Jalen Naylor, great player. Peyton Thorne had a great year. But basically, the reason we had a good year that year was Kenneth Walker. And it was like, we were back in the 90s. It was like we were back when the running back. And it's like, why did that work? Well, why did Kenneth Walker have so much more of an impact at Michigan State than he did get with the Seattle Seahawks, for example? Well, for one, Kenneth Walkers are essentially every running back in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Because every running back in the NFL has a good O-line. Which means if you get blockers, you already have a hole, and the only guy you got to beat is probably that middle linebacker, maybe, and maybe if depending on the coverage, and you get a 15-yard gain. And it's I saw it. We saw it last year with the Lions. Jamal Williams is not he's not even a top 10 running back, and he broke Barry Sanders' rushing touchdown record. Why? Because the Lions have a top 5 O-line. And all it took was you got some blockers, Jamal Williams, not a scrub. He can see where there's a hole, and he just goes for it.
And especially when you do that, 10 yards away from the goal line.
Yeah, right. And it's like
Easy.
we were touchdown merchant. You're at the goal line. Just give it to Jamal Williams. You get a good block. What do you need? 3 yards, please. He gets 3 yards in his sleep. Like it's not, and it's like there's no. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't want to make fun of the running backs for the Zoom call. I don't, because they're frustrated. They don't know what to do. But look, you're making yourselves look like fools. You're like, because what is the NFL going to look at this and say? Well, you're not making me want to pay you anymore. Because it doesn't, like, this doesn't change the value assessment that we're giving you.
Mm-hmm.
And further, like, the other thing that was kind of funny to me is, let's say some of these running backs step up or like strike or something. They don't want to come to work. That could very easily work against them. Because what happens if, say, Austin Eckler, I don't want to come to work, and the Chargers still have a really good offense? What happens if Derrick Henry says, I don't want to come to work, and the Titans still suck? So, I mean, I guess maybe that's not a great example.
But still, I get the idea.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like if the quarterbacks went on strike, where all of the offenses would probably be really bad. Or if the linemen went on a strike, where all of the linemen of the lines will be terrible, right? Like, linemen are not a dime a dozen. Running backs are. That's why linemen, get paid longer term deals and the bigger bucks than the running backs at this point. Penei Sewell will probably, if the Lions ever end up successful, Penei Sewell will probably be much more impactful to that success than even Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, I mean, assuming Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't just totally transition into a wide receiver, I guess.
Oh, well.
Certainly more than David Montgomery. Like, that's just the way the game is. And it's like, I don't know what to say to the running backs. It's like getting mad at Monopoly when you land on Broadway or whatever. Is it Broadway? What's the like worst one to land on? Like I
think it's Broadway.
Is it Broadway?
Let's see.
I don't know. You land or Parkway or whatever it's called, and your friend is like, "Well, you got to pay me $200," and you're like, "I don't wanna." It's like, well, too bad. Like, you either are gonna pay me the $200 or we can't play the game. Like, so you're either gonna get paid, the franchise tag, and go as a free agent after 5 or 6 years, or you're not gonna play the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I've also alluded to this before. Like, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I'll be that guy for a little bit. We're talking about the difference between getting paid $750,000 a year and $3 million a year. Like, okay, I wish my problems were I got to choose whether or not I got paid $750,000 or $1 million a year. Like, I mean, I get it. They're putting their lives on the line. A lot of these guys could end up with CTE or, constant pain in their bones and muscles, all that stuff. But also, you're getting paid thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to play a game.
Yeah.
And there are harder jobs out there. And there are jobs that don't pay as much.
Correct.
Like,
just ask Saquon, who got
right.
$1 million.
And speaking of Saquon, I mean, so much for a man of the people, Saquon. You just like it's like, oh, by the way, yeah, I'll just sign this 1 year deal. It's like, this one actually annoys me, right? Because the Giants all offseason had to deal with Saquon. What are we gonna do with Saquon? Do we want to re-sign him? Saquon, what do you want to do? Do you want to say, oh, I want to be a Giant for life? Oh, like, how much do you want? Oh, I want this much. It's like, well, we don't really feel comfortable. Oh, you guys just don't like this is terrible. The running backs are getting totally. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'll sign for $1 million this year. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the offseason is over, it's like you just hamstrung like the entire offseason of the Giants.
Yep.
For the exact deal that everyone sort of suspected you were going to get anyway, if they were going to keep you.
Yep.
Why? Seth, why? Why?
These are professional sports players. That's how all of them are.
Yeah, many.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the whole
incentives in the deal, but
I think he gets like $2 million as a signing bonus, and he's
oh
making
wow, I don't know how he's gonna survive with just $2 million as a signing bonus.
Seriously, and he's making $10 million not
boy.
guaranteed, but
Boy,
man,
he's like a real pauper. That
yeah,
Saquon
seriously, he's
Barkley.
broke. My God.
I don't know. Running backs are out here in the streets.
Yeah, my God. And it's just
It's so ridiculous.
it's more money than so many people are ever going to see in their lives.
Right.
It's incredible that people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
won the genetic lottery. You can be an NFL player, a starter even.
Yeah, and Saquon Barkley is one of the best running backs in the NFL, obviously.
Yeah.
And
But Saquon has a problem where his legs don't work so good all the time.
that is true. He does get injured.
Ow!
That's
That's
Saquon
him.
most of the time.
That's him every single year.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it,
I feel like it's just going
all
in
the way.
circles at this
A
point.
little
It's
bit, like, because it's
Yeah.
like there's nothing really more for me to say about it other than
Yep.
like there's a value assessment that's being made here. It's not arbitrary. It's not like they're just targeting running backs. They're just not as valuable as these other positions that are getting paid. What was funny though is I think it was the Giants. They like paid some backup running back or
Nice.
something before. Like it was something
Yep.
like in the back. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like they were
Ki- kind-
spending money in some other facet. I don't remember if it was a backup running back, but it was some other facet. And I was just like, that is
kind of ironic.
And speaking of other players getting paid on the team, we heard it just before the show started. Justin Herbert was it 5 years for $500 million, something like that.
262 million
Oh well,
for 5 years. So
5 years, 260 million. That's
look at the
like,
262 divided by 5.
what was that?
52 million a year.
Was it?
52.4 million a year.
Okay.
Just about.
So $52 million man.
I mean, I think that's an accurate assessment. That's just
Yeah,
me.
I agree. I think that's a good signing. The thing about it is, like, you got to start winning, Justin. No more of this, youngest quarterback to get this stat, all the. It's like, well, you got to
just wait.
start at a certain
Wait.
point.
Once the injury curse leaves the Chargers, we're good.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
It hasn't, but it will
Right.
at some point.
Right.
You got to believe.
How's LaDainian Tomlinson doing?
I think he died.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Oh my.
And now he's dead.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
this is news to LaDainian.
no, I mean, yeah, he's.
I loved LaDainian Tomlinson.
hey,
Just
he
because his
was-
name was so much fun.
He really is.
Him and Phillip Rivers.
He wore my favorite number, 21. 21's my favorite
Oh.
number.
Really?
So
It's your favorite number?
it is, yes.
I don't have a favorite number.
No,
Am I the odd one out here?
possibly.
When I played like junior high football, I was 24, but that was just like I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be 24.
Kobe Bryant,
I probably didn't even know Kobe Bryant was 24.
probably not. But yeah, I remember growing up, I had 21 was my favorite number, and then 4. I also liked 4. I would wear either 21 or 4 in
21
my
or 4?
sports. Yep.
Okay.
But
I like number 1. I knew number 1 because that was Chauncey Billups' number.
that's true.
That was the
I wore
number.
that for when I played baseball when I was younger. I wore number 1.
See, like being number 1, that's like it's like the captain's number, right? Like nobody else can be number 1 unless you're a captain. You can't just be a bench guy and take number 1.
That is true. I think I was 1 on my baseball team when I was younger because I was first hitter. I think they did it by hitters. Like seriously, I
They
think
only go
it
to
was.
1 to 9 every.
Yeah.
There's only 9 numbers.
Whatever they did. I
No
don't
double
remember.
digits in this sport.
Yeah,
That's
I don't remember
fine.
how they did it in baseball. It's too long ago.
I never played baseball. I was just a football kid.
Yeah.
Looking back, I wish I would have played maybe more sports, but then again,
Mhm.
that would have been a lot of time away from potentially playing Lego Star Wars.
That is true.
It's like a cost out.
Yeah. But
Had to make a calculation.
yeah. So anyway, that's just. It seems like this running back thing is all pretty stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of hope we're done with it because.
Yeah, I hope.
But
that
I fear
it
we
gets
aren't
resolved.
because I like
probably not.
you're gonna have like I don't think Josh Jacobs has reported the training camp.
He didn't.
This is also like this is amazing to me, right? So like from my understanding,
Mm-hmm.
training camp is required, right? You have to go to training camp. Like it's in the contracts that you sign.
Something
I would
like that.
assume. So like
Yeah.
it would be like if I was like, I don't want to go to work.
Yeah.
Oh, Shohei just got struck out, and I love these like Shohei is too nice. Like he just looked at the umpire. He's like, I don't like that call.
Yeah.
Oh man. But no, it'd be like if I was like, as much as I, think like this job is really great and all, I'm gonna not go to the training for it. I don't
Yeah.
really. Now I get it in some case. Like I don't think some players need quote unquote need to go to training camp. But
Josh Jacobs is probably one of them, but
right. My thing is like, it's not about need. It's about like, how are you presenting yourself to the team, and how is the team thus going to view you? Like, do you have
it's
to go
unprofessional.
right? Like, it's like, does Jared Goff need to go to training camp? No. Jared Goff has played in a Super Bowl, and he's a 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback. He doesn't need the training. He knows how to play the position.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff is the leader of that offense. He's going to show up.
Going to go.
I know there was sometimes Aaron Rodgers wouldn't show up to training camps. I never really was a fan of that. Aaron Rodgers, again, has the case. Yeah, he doesn't need training camp. But that's not really the point. It's like, just something that bothers me sometimes. And I don't know. I don't have a list of all the players who have not gone to training camp. So if you're gonna, what about I don't know, Joe Schmo? I don't know about Joe Schmo. I'm sure he's a great guy, but maybe go to training camp, Joe. Yeah. But we have just a couple more stories. I wanted to react to
2 more.
Literally 2 more.
Yeah.
I wanted to briefly react to this Jim Harbaugh thing because it is related in a sense to us because it's Michigan and Michigan State fans.
Correct.
So Jim Harbaugh was suspended, according to Yahoo News, for 4 games for essentially TLDR breaking recruiting rules during COVID. So the thing people are pointing to, namely, is this: apparently he bought some kid a cheeseburger or something, which is against the rule. Now, the thing about it's like people who say, "Oh, he's getting suspended for a cheeseburger." No, he's getting suspended because he lied about the things that he did.
Yes.
During the so he's sort of in a situation of his own making where he could have just said, "Yeah, I did these things. No, I didn't know these were the rules. Sorry." But the NCAA says you're suspended for 4 games. Now,
and here's the thing.
Yeah, it's the first 4 games.
I was going to say, if you're getting into that, they don't need Jim Harbaugh for their first 4 games.
I don't think they need
Jim Harbaugh actually
a lot of their starters.
They don't.
If you they play Eastern Carolina, I think.
Let me look
up
the
Michigan
Buccaneers.
Football schedule. They got a great logo. They're like skull pirates. It's awesome.
You are correct. East Carolina, game 1. Yeah. UNLV, game 2. Bowling Green, game 3. And Rutgers, game 4.
From Jersey. Rutgers.
Yeah. It's that's a scary schedule.
Yeah, it's a little concerning. So yeah. I mean,
they don't.
It's not a concern as far as the win losses, and if it is a concern,
then we have
then maybe your aspirations are not actually as high as you might think.
Maybe you're not going to a national championship.
Yeah, look, would I find it absolutely hysterical if Michigan drops a game against ECU? Of course I would, but I feel like if they lost, it wasn't because Jim Harbaugh wasn't there.
I think if they lost, that means the end of the world is near. Possibly right after that.
Right. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse would start appearing out of the sky.
Pretty much.
It would be pretty scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wanted to sort of branch off on that because my main thing about it is there were some Michigan fans that I saw that were getting all upset about.
I'm sure they were because
they're going after us, the media, I'm like, okay, here's my thing, right? So of the Big Ten teams outside of, I guess, Ohio State, Michigan is supremely praised in the media. If this was Michigan State, that if Mel Tucker got caught on this, are you oh, Mel Tucker, He's on the hot seat. Did you know, Seth, that he had a 5-7? Did you know that? Did you know that he had a bad record?
No.
You know, Seth, he had some people and they decommitted. Did you know that? And now he's getting suspended. And that's never happened. It's like, look, like,
And yeah,
it was like, it's just like Michigan, if something, you know, he made a mistake.
It's
It was an
okay.
honest mistake. And honestly, I want to give him
probably
enough
was.
credit. It probably was an honest mistake. But like James, buddy, don't lie. Like
Jimothy.
what do you Jimothy, there's no reason to lie. And I say that I am a Michigan State fan. I will never root for Michigan. I don't even hate Jim Harbaugh. In fact, I kind of like Jim Harbaugh in a lot of ways. I think he's got some admirable characteristics. I think he really cares about his teammates, and I think he's a pretty smart guy.
Yes.
But why would you lie? Like that's just like, don't lie about this sort of thing with investigators. Like if you just say, yeah, you know what, I gave that guy, you know, some messages. We had coaches watch him work out over Zoom or something. Like, yeah, I did that. That was I didn't know that was against the rules. Nobody knew what was going on. We didn't even know if there was going to be a season. Like, there's all these reasons that he could have given as to why he made this mistake. But he just lied.
But he didn't.
And so it's like, well, shoot, sorry, man. You're down 4 games. Like, it's not going to matter, but like, that's just what it is. So
that's
I
honestly
mean,
like just a tiny slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's like, I don't know. So it's like people get so like, it's like, oh well, if you disagree with the rule being a thing, which I think the rule, whatever it was, I think it was a little silly and arbitrary. But like that doesn't mean that like
you break
the rule. You could just break it, right? It's like Jameson Williams. It's like people. It's like Lions fans who got all upset when Jameson Williams. It's like, well, the rule was the rule, and as time has gone on, we understood that, you know, it actually wasn't as clear as maybe the NFL might have been presenting it. And, you know, some players didn't really know, and Jameson was one of them. But
so in that moment, though,
still broke the rule, right? Like, it sucks. And I think maybe the punishment is a little bit too far, but the punishment is the punishment, and the rule was the rule. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, and even, I mean, not to get too much on Range Jameson, he said, like, yeah, like, I mean, I broke the rule. Like, I didn't know it was a rule. This is just an honest mistake, but like, I feel bad. I let my teammates down. I'm gonna go to work during training camp, during preseason. I'm gonna be ready to go in week 7. It's like, I feel like Jim Harbaugh should kind of have the same approach, right? Like, yeah,
and I'm sure he
broke
does
the rules. I lied about it. I shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. I'll be ready for my team come week 5. Or
when we played Nebraska.
Yeah, that's going to be a real tough game with Matt Rule helming the ship there.
Man, yeah, it's like they don't. I need to pull this back up again. I already closed it out of spite for that first 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play anybody who I think is going to really give them anything except for maybe Minnesota's offense.
Yeah, or
maybe.
or like I guess Michigan State on the road is always an interesting game.
It's like that one is, you know, we have a possibility.
Right.
Honestly, though, they're too, like, compared to who they play versus who we play, it's incredible. We are going to play some of the, like, we play Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. Going to be the top 3 teams in the Big Ten.
You also play Washington out of conference, who
and Washington is
one of the better teams in the Pac-12.
They're probably going to possibly. I shouldn't say probably. That doesn't work. Possibly win the Pac-12. I think they're going to be a top 10 team, and I think
Penix Jr. could be a Heisman candidate.
And I think Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan will all be top 10 teams. So we're going to play 4 of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I don't know. And then you look at Michigan, and they are going to play 2 top 10 teams, and like nobody else within the top 25 probably, unless again Minnesota or
unless, I mean, like, again, it's like dependent on how good the Big Ten is this year, I guess. Like, if we come out of nowhere and we start the year like 5-0, then I guess we're gonna be top 5 or top 25. Or like Penn State, again, same story. If they're like 5-0,
if they do well,
like,
I mean, yeah.
But I mean, like, I mean, like, this is just a problem with college football in general. It's like it doesn't really like games are just not interesting most of the time until like November.
Because that's when it starts actually.
Yeah,
like,
that's when you get rivalry weekend. You start to get like the playoff picture starts to come out. Like, but like the first 3 or 4 weeks, I mean, it's like
even for
you're
like
playing
MSU.
just nobody, man. It's just like
Yeah.
it's basically like for the home team, or I mean, sometimes the visiting team, like Michigan State last year, they went to Washington. I guess the home team won in that regard, but like
Yeah.
it's basically just like highlight reel. Like it's like, you know, like even last or 2 years ago, Michigan State started the season against Northwestern. It might as well have been an out of conference game because Kenneth Walker ran for like 500 yards.
Yes, he scored a touchdown the first time he touched a football.
I was shocked.
It was insane.
Game.
We missed the foreshadowing. It was right there.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, we're both very excited for college football. Also, I wanted to make note of this. Football starts next week, Seth. Hall of Fame game is Thursday. But
that's something.
Who you got? The Browns or the Jets? And by the Browns or the Jets, I mean the third stringers of the Browns or the Jets.
Great question. Let's go.
I can't wait to watch that game. I'm actually this is how you know football is king, where I guarantee you that game is going to get like several millions of people watching because like people just like the NFL really is king in basically every facet of in marketing and being able to like create these storylines. Like everybody wants to watch football by the time August comes around. But like if it's
every
like
Sunday,
like after like in like February, you're like, yeah, okay, let's cool off the football. Maybe we're watching basketball or hockey or you know something like that. Like those two leagues, their seasons are really getting underway. Playoffs are starting to get a little closer. Trade deadline, stuff like that. And then after that happens, then it's like summertime, and you got baseball and all that fun stuff. I know it's not really fun for us most of the time, but it's generally speaking like warm weather. You got the finals in the NHL and NBA. Like you got all and then like just by the time you get July, you get the All-Star game in the MLB, and you're like, okay, this is still pretty good. You got the trade deadline. I'm starting to lose me a little bit if my team sucks. And the NFL's like, we're home. Thursday night.
NFL's here.
Hall of Fame game. Jets, Browns. Don't care if it's not the starters playing. Don't care if I won't recognize a single player. Don't care if none of the players on the field play a single snap in the regular season. You know why? Because it's football, baby.
We got that, and then
a week after, preseason starts, and then it's like everybody's team is playing. So even again, same deal. Might not see any, but you're gonna see at least with preseason, you're gonna probably see some players that might get some playing time, right?
Yeah.
Like last year, I remember Tom Kennedy from the Lions was like a big name because he looked really good in the preseason, and he actually did get some
playing time
receptions in the NFL. He wasn't, you know, a big receiver, but he was on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fun time. August, it's like it's relaxed, so you don't have to be stressed out. I know there's the big stat about the Ravens who have like the record for preseason wins or something. And it's like it's fun. It doesn't mean anything. Obviously, the Ravens haven't won a Super Bowl in like a decade. And it doesn't like it is meaningless. But it's just fun.
You get to that last week of August, and you know September is coming up.
September 1st, MSU CMU, little Friday Night Lights, and EL. The Chippewas coming to face the Spartans on probably Fox, right? I think so. I think it's on Fox.
Yep, I can't wait for that game. I will be there.
I can't wait either. I probably won't be there. I might be. I don't know what my plan is for that particular night. I might broadcast live reaction and play-by-play.
And maybe you'll see me.
I might see you. That would be amazing if I actually saw you.
I'll be in the student section. That's all I know.
That would be amazing. But we could even do like a post-game call. What was it like on the field? Like you're the on-the-field reporter. Do we have a report from?
And I'm just sitting there with a microphone.
Yeah, where's Noah Kim?
Noah Kim, anyone?
Noah, hello.
Noah, where is he?
Are you here? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. So very excited for football, but we got to wrap up the show really quickly here. We have just two little stories that we can talk about on the NBA.
For your resident NBA fans, such as myself.
Right. Jaylen Brown signed a quadrillion-dollar deal with the
Yep.
Celtics.
He's a very rich guy.
$300 million or something. It's like
He's
the
the
biggest
most.
deal in NBA history or something.
Yep. He is now the highest paid player in NBA history, which
Woo!
personally, I don't know why.
I don't know. I'm kind of two minds on this because in my mind, like, here's my thing, right? If you're the Celtics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you had the bad game with, Jaylen Brown kind of
Well,
not playing well.
maybe not knowing how to dribble the ball.
Right, but like, you go back to that finals run, and Jaylen Brown was a really good player for them, and even going into the offseason, minus
He's a
again
great
that
player.
one game, people were pretty high on trying to get him out of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like you were saying, there are concerns, and I suppose it is an overpay just because he's not the greatest player ever. But I think he's a part of that core. They're gonna keep him around with Jason Tatum. They're gonna try to run it back, and I suppose I wish them luck, but I don't really know. I mean, it's like year to year, it's hard to tell with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Because you usually have the perennial guys that are in the playoffs, and the Celtics are sort of becoming that.
Yeah.
So it's like
They're in there
teams,
every year.
yeah, like teams are getting a little bit more familiar, and it's like,
Mhm.
well, we kind of need you to do something. And they were one game away, right,
Mhm.
from getting into the finals, and they did drop the ball, but they were in it, right?
Mhm.
So I don't think this is like the worst thing for them. I think on its face, I'm like, whoa, that is a lot of money for, Jaylen Brown,
Yeah.
who's not
Which
even,
maybe,
arguably not even the best player on the team.
I think Jason Tatum is better than he is, but
Right.
I think that might, in my first thought was like, okay, this is where NBA Supermax contracts are going. They're just going to
Yeah.
start being more and more money, which is
Right, because
understandable.
now the standard is, well, I'm better than Jaylen Brown, right? If
Yeah.
you're an NBA player and
But then,
you're ready to get your extension, I'm
yeah, and I'm
better than
sitting there,
Jaylen.
but yeah, the other thought was just like, if I'm the Celtics, as much as I want Jaylen Brown on the team, is that, I don't think that's going to be a good investment personally, because looking
Yeah,
at the
this has a
East,
very good chance of blowing up in their face.
yeah, because like looking at the East, it's not like the Celtics keeping Jaylen Brown makes them just like the clear favorite to like
Mm.
make it out of the East and win a fight, like possibly, I can't say win the finals, but make it to the finals. Say
Right.
like it's a 5-year contract. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 5 years. So how old
Say
is Jaylen Brown?
he's in his mid-20s. I think he's like 26. But like
Uh,
still, you take this 5 years that he's gonna be under this contract.
he is 26. So he will be 31 by the end of the contract.
So you look at that, and for the next 5 years, though, you look at the landscape of the East.
Mhm.
Even next year,
I mean, yeah, you got
do you have?
Giannis still
Yeah,
as a threat. The
there is
Sixers, we don't really
no.
know what their deal is, but theoretically, they're still a threat.
See, all these teams are coming up as far as
Yeah, and
threats
then
to
I mean,
make it out of
even
the
like
East.
I mean, we'll see where the Pistons are at, but I would hope in 5 years' time the Pistons will be a team that's in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Very young team.
and I mean
Monty
that's not
Williams.
even. Yeah,
And that's
5 years
that's
from
a team
now.
that isn't even in the playoffs, right
Yeah.
now. Like you still have the Heat,
Mhm.
who I don't know if they're ever going to trade for Damian Lillard, but
They're
apparently
just
they
taking
want
their sweet
to.
time.
Then you also have who else?
I mean, the Bulls, the Hawks,
Yeah, maybe.
there's these teams that are low
They're
seeds,
yeah, but
but like,
they could sneak up on you.
yeah,
Sure.
and you don't know, but I'm even
The
thinking like
Magic.
in
I don't
5
know.
years possibly. Like
Yeah, right. I mean,
that's at
like
the later
yeah,
term.
you have to think 5 years down the line, right? So
Yeah.
like, what is the Celtics window realistically? Like probably the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but you got to
Right,
think
because
they're not
then
clear cut in the next 2 or
Tatum
3 years.
and all these guys are going to start getting older and
Mhm.
or request extensions, and they might not be able to cash those checks.
Yeah. I just
And
think
you're going to lose guys too. Like
yeah,
Al Horford is like 1,000 years old, and so
he
he's
is.
not going to be on the team by the end of the contract.
Marcus Smart's already on the Memphis
Smart's
Grizzlies.
already off the team, right? So that's a
Yeah.
big defensive presence that you just lost. So
I don't know. I just think if I'm the Celtics, I would see that and be like, that is an overpay, and it's not going to be worth it for the 5 years, and probably, honestly, for the first, like, 3 years of it is when you're trying to go for it,
Right.
probably, but you're not a clear-cut favorite because you have the Sixers, you have the Bucks, you have the Celtics, you have, the Heat somehow, if as long as they're
Right.
not injured.
Right. And
It's
then
just
even if you get to the finals, you still got to beat the team. Like,
you gotta beat a
you
freaking
still
team
got
in
to
the
beat,
West.
teams in the West. I mean, you got the Nuggets, you got the Lakers, you got the Suns, you
Suns,
got the
Warriors if they make
Kings.
another one, Kings are
Yeah.
another one, like,
Kings
there's
are an up
these
and coming team. The Thunder, that's another very scary team in the near future.
in
That
5
has
years,
immense draft capital.
they're gonna be a damn good team. The
Who
Thunder are gonna be
knows?
really good.
Yeah, like even the Rockets. That's another team that has a lot of young talent that
Capital.
could make a. There's a lot of. So like,
It's a lot of
look,
it's a gamble.
Boston. I mean, like ultimately, Boston is just obviously banking that their guys are going to be better, and obviously that's what you do.
But
So I don't know though. I mean,
it's just a
you're kind
gamble.
of you're making a good case. Like it it is a lot of money, and you're thinking you gotta win it by 2026
Mhm.
because after that, I mean, yeah, the Pistons at that point should be a playoff team, and frankly, a really good playoff team. And this is again assuming all these things work out.
Pistons
Which
bias.
yes, correct. Pistons bias. Yeah, I'm
I
so
mean,
biased about a
nope.
team that won 16 games last year. Like,
They're
I'm thinking, like 5 years down the line, I figure we're better than 16 wins, right?
well, I would assume so, but I'm not. I think mid-playoff team.
Really?
I think like
5
mid-season, like
years?
4 to like 6. I think that's where they fall.
5 years?
Mhm.
Oh, that's really
We'll come back.
depressing.
We'll
Yeah,
come back in
hopefully.
5 years. But
I mean, like, I guess it depends how good Cade is because he's really the guy that is he's gonna be the guy that moves us wherever we go, right?
mhm.
Number one overall pick, I know on all that, but
But
yeah. So
all this to say it's an overpay. And then the second part
yeah,
is
very serious story. So we'll try
yeah,
to we'll try to treat it with some level of candor, from what we know what's happening.
yeah, which is
So
very little.
yeah,
But
right.
it was reported that Bronny James, while doing a workout for USC, for those that don't know, Bronny James, the son of LeBron James,
Yeah,
had basically just collapsed on the court. He went into cardiac arrest and he was rushed to the
right.
hospital.
He was
Um,
resuscitated on the floor, like they
mhm,
use the defibrillators.
yep, and he is now fine from what
Yeah,
is being said. But yeah, that was just I just wanted to throw that in there as kind of
yeah.
a
I
crazy
mean,
thing that I heard that
yeah,
an 18-year-old kid,
incredibly terrifying story for LeBron James,
yeah,
who has been talking about wanting to play with his son for so long, and now you throw in this thing where I mean, we don't know if he has some sort of a heart condition that was just showed itself now. We
mhm,
don't know if this is a spur of the moment thing. Typically 18-year-olds don't go into cardiac arrest. So I
no,
don't know.
and it's happened. I saw a thing today that it's happened with a couple other like athletes that are big names. The first one
Mhm.
that comes to mind is Damar Hamlin.
Obviously. Yeah, that's the big one.
The other person is a guy you definitely do not know, but he plays soccer for my favorite team.
Mm.
Okay, I was waiting for something,
No,
but
no. I will not do the
uh,
dial tone sound
okay,
drop.
that's I was expecting that, but he went into cardiac arrest playing, and I mean he's not 18, or I don't know how old Damar Hamlin is, but
Yeah.
I think
Either
when
way, like you don't usually go into cardiac arrest when you're like,
a
sub
professional athlete,
70. Like,
yeah, like
when you're a
somebody who
professional athlete, one,
trains,
and then
yeah,
sub the age of 70,
you don't
and have no
typically
history
have
of
heart
like heart.
attacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was just pretty crazy to hear.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And obviously, again, it's not a very they don't have a lot of info on it because they want to try
yeah.
and keep it private, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But
I get it.
yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, you know, for Bronny, like, you wonder if this adds to the calculation of how much you want to play basketball. I mean, this was briefly talked about with Damar Hamlin,
Hmm.
right? Like, do you want to go back on the field or on the court in this case after having a pretty scary experience like that?
It's very it'd be
and
considered traumatic.
yeah, right. I mean, unlike the DeMar Hamlin case where
Mhm.
DeMar is not alone, obviously, but like he doesn't have a dad that is in the league, right? Like
That's
or
true.
something. Like it's not like they're not exactly comparable situations.
Mhm.
Given now LeBron James has to weigh LeBron James, the basketball player who wants to be able to play professional basketball with his son or against his son. We don't really know how that's going to work out.
Mhm.
But now it's like, well, we don't know if this is a recurring thing, if this is like
Yeah.
maybe like what if it comes out he has a rare heart condition and he can't play, he can't engage in intense physical activity. Like he has to get a
Mhm.
what's the I can't think of the name of it's like a battery inside your heart essentially. Like
No.
no, not a defibrillator. That's the
That's
clear thing.
those things.
I can't think of the name of it. I'm not a doctor, obviously.
Oh, well.
But it's basically like a pacemaker. Pacemaker, that's what it's called.
That's what it is.
So like, I mean, there are people who have like older people, like my grandfather has a pacemaker.
Mhm.
Because when the older you get, your heart is a muscle and your muscles get weaker over time. So you need
Correct.
like an assistance to make sure that it still works, that you don't just die.
Sure.
If he has, some sort of weakened heart condition, I mean, if he gets a pacemaker, you just can't play
You're not playing basketball.
like
Yeah.
the most you could do maybe is like golf. Like
Yeah.
and even then, like, you have to be very relaxed with a pacemaker, or else, you're going to cardiac arrest, right? Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
so, I mean,
It's just
it's like,
crazy.
it's a concern. I hope that he's okay. I think it would be,
Mhm.
I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan in general, but I think it would be really cool to see father and son playing at the same time. I can't think of any time in sports where that has actually happened.
I don't think
I
it
mean,
has.
obviously, there's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is playing, and his father played, and plenty of people remember his father, and Ken Griffey Jr.,
Mhm.
same deal. But,
Yeah.
like,
Not at the same time.
yeah, not at the same time. So this would be a very unique situation, and I think it would be really cool.
Definitely make
But
history for sure.
it's up to LeBron and to Bronny whether or not he wants to even keep going. And I think it would be understandable if he stops, but I think it'd be admirable if he continues. It's like DeMar Hamlin. It's like if
Mhm.
he said, I don't want to play football anymore.
It's understandable.
It's understandable. It's like I get it. It sucks. Like I don't. I understand why you're making this decision, but
Mhm.
I have so much respect for the fact that he's like, I want to play again, because
Yeah.
that is just like takes a lot of bravery, it takes a lot of heart, and it takes an intense love of the game to be
Mhm.
able to jump back in.
Which a lot of those
Right.
guys have, and I think Bronny James does have, as he,
Right. Right.
USC and probably going to be an NBA player one day if this doesn't,
Right.
turn
Right.
anything.
Assuming, I mean, like again, I mean, I don't want to speculate on the worst case scenario
Mhm.
when we're talking about the life of another human being here, but yeah, I mean, it was a really strange story.
Yes, very
Certainly
odd.
did not expect that in the news
Yeah.
cycle.
Yep.
But yeah, wishing the James family the best, because
Yeah.
that's it's pretty scary stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. And on that somber note,
Indeed.
I think we're gonna wrap up this week's show. So next week, it's fine. Again, we've alluded to it. Next week, we'll finally have some football to preview.
Which
Will
it's
it be
gonna
good
be
football?
no.
Absolutely not. No, it'll be probably very gross. You'll feel sick afterwards. But we will have
It's
a pick.
football.
We will choose who we think is going to win. We literally, I don't think we'll have any information.
Nope.
It'll be like, who's the starters? Jameer Schmuckenstein will be the starting quarterback for the
I'll take him.
Browns. Yeah, I don't know. Schmuckenstein would look really good for the University of Southern Dakota.
Yeah.
Not South Dakota, by the way. Southern
Just
Dakota. Like
Southern.
south of, you understand.
The Dakotas.
Yeah. So definitely
We'll
we'll
see.
have that to talk about.
Yep.
For at least 10 minutes. I don't know. However long we can talk about it.
It's
Maybe we
something.
can talk about the Hall of Fame player. I don't know if there's any Chargers or Lions inducted. I don't think there's any Lions being inducted to the Hall of Fame this year, and I don't think there's any Chargers. Well, maybe
Thanks, Lou.
the trade yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lou, is that you? The trade deadline will have happened in MLB, so we'll have all of that. Hoping that the Tigers make some moves and maybe the Padres will do something and there'll be something.
Hopefully,
of
it's just like an
interest.
entertaining window. Hopefully, it's not like. Hopefully, we get a big trade or something that is worth even talking about versus just, those are all like.
But like
trades that don't
next
matter.
week, though, it's like that will potentially be, I guess, the last slump week. Because then we can start doing pick'ems for preseason games, and that's when things really get exciting.
Yeah.
But then that week in
preseason-
between, that's when it's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We're already at the end of July. This is our last July show.
Yep.
And I gotta say, we've done a very good job through these dog days. And we're gonna be getting into August. Dog days of August. It gets rough. But you know what?
College football and NFL.
College football and pro football, and things are gonna be wild. Can't wait.
Yep.
Excited. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up tonight's show. Appreciate anyone for coming by and listening in for a little bit. And Seth, do you have any parting words for the people?
I don't. No.
Okay. Lou, do you have any?
Well, I don't get the rain man cold.
I agree.
Okay. Thanks,
Lou.
We're gonna go ahead and go on out. So have a good night, everybody. See you guys next week. Bye.
Take it easy, people.
Goodbye.